Good morning and welcome to the February 25th, 2005 Eidelweiss Board of Commissioners meeting. It's Tuesday morning at 9 a.m. and today we're in the library. I'm not sure what's going on at Town Hall. Do you know what's going on at Town Hall that we're over here?
They were scheduled to have an audit.
Oh, the auditors came in. They need the room. So the first thing we do is approve the agenda. And we could have a non-public session for a few minutes just to cover one topic at the end.
Okay.
Okay. So I'll make a motion that we add a non-public session. And next we'll move to the approval of the minutes of the 19th, which was last
Second?
Wednesday.
Yes.
Wednesday.
I said second
Yeah.
and yes.
Okay, Microsoft found one little thing, and that was, did you see that?
No,
No, I missed it.
I didn't see anything.
I was reading on my iPad.
It was one of these things where the structure of the sentence has the verb being singular when it wants to be plural. It was pH levels. There it is.
Yeah, during Nancy's.
Oh, nope, that's another one. It says, under Nancy's, it says, the warrant articles and the 2005 MS 635 budget is close to being finalized. It's a number of things. They are. So that's two places that
Yeah.
Microsoft signals that it sees a little grammatical error, that's all.
Which paragraph are you on?
It's the
Commissioners
commissioner's
reports
reports.
under Nancy. And then there was one with the pH levels.
Yeah, that's bullet point number 2.
Under commissioners reports?
Yeah, Nancy notices the pH results for the Summit Pump House.
So it's all Nancy's fault.
Okay, so if it says pH results, it should be are higher as opposed to is higher.
Right?
Yeah.
Just two.
Yep.
I'll vote yes with those two little modifications. You're abstaining, I take it, because
Yes, I have to abstain because I wasn't here for this
you
one.
voted yes already?
Aye, yes.
201.
Yeah. Gotcha.
So now at number 3, we'll move to approval of the manifest. Operations manifest of $6,636.02. I'll make a motion that we discuss and approve this manifest.
Second.
So there's a couple of things I saw that were noteworthy about this.
My pen is dying.
You can take this one.
Okay.
When was the work done on the power steering at Albany Service Center?
You know, it's been puddled under the look at it, it's wrong fluid, so they brought it there, and they took a look, and they said, yeah, the small leak connects to the brakes somehow, and that truck, the hydraulics, and that, and he said, there's not a slight leak, he filled up with some fluid, and he said, you know, keep an eye on it. They could change the pump, but it wasn't bad. It's something to do with going into the master cylinder, into the brakes, and he said it's not real bad just yet. So that truck, that's the 2018, that truck's over at getting service done right now over at Arc Motors. It's getting filters and the filters. No, yeah, sir. Like I said, we decided we had that air issue with aftermarket parts. So that's over there. They're going to take a quick look at that as well.
Okay.
Just look at it and give me an idea of what what's going on.
Same truck, 2018.
Yeah.
That's what Albany Center did.
So just in reading the invoice, it looked like he had a lot of time with it, but it didn't say that he actually fixed anything, and it was down on fluids. The key was that he sees the small hole just watch. That wasn't on the invoice. why I asked.
Okay.
Thanks. So February has some bills coming in. Heating government buildings and the pump houses is big because February was so cold. The amount of fuel we're burning was big with the Thursdays and Sundays snowstorms, and then the winging back operation is a big fuel burner. We got
Right,
3 machines.
Using the grader and the big truck more often are gonna burn off of fuel.
So the bill for this manifest is $1,356.25 in fuel. Heating the buildings was $1,036.
Even more than that.
That hasn't made it to the manifest yet?
Well, there are
Previous
some
minute.
that's, no, because you're looking at the split, so you gotta add the,
Where the water contributors?
yeah. So it's the 1,036 plus the
Plus the
182.
182.92.
Yes, and yes, there are 2 other bills waiting to be paid next week, so, yeah.
Then the noteworthy one was fixing the garage door.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Did you see that invoice?
Yes. Came in and he worked on all 5 garage doors. Clean up, as far as clean, everything all oiled up there. There was a lot of loose, sloppy parts that he tightened up. He had to put some new pieces of angle iron in places, where, tighten some things up and all that, the cables. He did notice on the door for the backhoe up at building 2 that there's some springs that come down and the bottom plates that are rusting out, that he's getting me a price on, parts, and he's gonna come back and have to do that. I mean, the most thing, I think, was the labor on
Yes,
that invoice.
yes. I'd like to find what the market is by contacting other companies and seeing whether that hourly rate is average or not.
Yeah, I mean, that did seem a little crazy to me. I can't imagine that he's at, and other places are a lot, but I don't know.
Unless he's a heart surgeon during his
Yeah.
Well,
regular
I
job.
mean, you're spending time doing, the
Oh,
greasing
yes.
and cleaning and,
It's
Right.
not the number of hours, it's the hourly rate.
It's
Did you
200
notice?
some odd each charge.
Gotcha.
I'm trying not to say that.
yeah.
So just, I need to see somebody else's hourly price,
Yeah.
because I found that a little surprising.
Yeah.
Okay. And then, do you know if Paris Farmers sells magnesium chloride bags?
I do not.
We're buying calcium chloride bags from Paris Farmers at $24 and
Yeah, almost $25 a bag.
25 for a 50-pound bag, and it just, I guess I can ask them when I'm in there.
Yeah, we use those for the ice problems that we were having, where the ice was coming out of the ditch lines into the roads. That one off Usways, down West Bergamo. There was another one off of Upper Lakeview. There was the one up Oak Ridge by the S-turn. So the calcium bags were used for those to control the ice problems that we were having.
Do you guys put masks on when you're spreading that?
No.
You probably should. The powder gets in the air.
Yeah.
I don't know if. Any other questions on the manifest? Do you have masks?
Yeah, there's a few floating around the shop.
N95s, yeah? I'll vote that we approve this manifest at $6,638.02.
Second.
Aye.
Aye.
3-0. There is no water manifest this week?
Nope.
Next up is at 9:09 is the DPW report.
Okay, so,
Why are you sitting so far away? We're not gonna throw snowballs at you.
oh, no, that's okay. This is where the chairs were, so I just went. But, no, so we had no snow for over a week here, so we've been working on removing the snow that we've gotten by doing the high winging and crowding the roads back and reestablishing the roads. So Willie Shepherd come in last week, and he helped us out with that. He drove the truck while I was in the backhoe and Tony was in the grader, and, you know, went real smooth. Gave, you know, your thing on the internet there, Mark, helps, I think, absolutely helps. Gives people the education on what it is we're doing and why we're doing it and how it's done, because it's important. You know, the driveways get filled up and they gotta recognize that the backhoe's trailing behind, cleaning that up on them. So, you know, I think I gave people some educations while I'm out there, and, you know, hopefully people understand what that process is and what it is we're doing, and don't get all fired up about the snow in the driveways. Give me about 20 minutes and I'll get there. So that worked out really well. You know, the road's softening up this week. I'm not sure how much of that we're gonna be able to get done. You don't like to bring the big thunder out and drag that blade, because we'll just peel up the gravel. So we'll see what we can do with that.
So it doesn't look like there's much, any real plowable events over the next 10 days or so, if you believe the forecast. But there's gonna be some rain and then freezing at nighttime, so how are you gonna deal with that?
Well, you know, it's hard to be proactive to the rain, you know what I mean? You kinda gotta let it happen and then go from there, and what happens is the frost comes out of the gravel roads and ices them up. So you gotta lay some sand down. If the pavement freezes up, we gotta go and get some salt down on them, get them treated. So it's just a matter of treating it as it occurs. If you look, like some of the gravel roads are down to the bare gravel.
And dry.
They're not probably gonna freeze up, I mean, unless you get a lot of heavy rain.
Yeah.
But, you know, the spots where there's still snow on them, they're gonna glaze right over, and they're gonna need to be treated.
Thursday might be tricky, because they're saying we could get 1 to 2 inches of snow,
Correct.
and then it can be 42 in the afternoon after the storm pulls out.
Right.
Right.
That doesn't mean that you can't, the hills, you got timing calls
Yeah.
at this time of year and all this stuff.
Right.
The roads look like they had black ice on them,
They could, yeah.
but they didn't.
Right. Right. It's kind of tricky. You kind of have to be physically there, and
Yeah.
so we'll keep an eye on all that. We did get 2 loads of salt last week, and I got 3 loads of sand yesterday. So we're set with materials for any of the stuff that's going to happen. Noticed yesterday when we were greasing the backhoe that the cutting edge on the bucket was broken. So I got a new one. I called up one of the suppliers and I got a new one of those. They brought it this morning, but they didn't bring the bolts and the nuts for it. So, you know, that's a cod. I believe the cutting edge was about $270. And the bolts are probably going to be another few bucks up in there on the way. So you're looking at about $300 for that.
I'll relate that to a story of a previous employee hitting ledge with it.
Yeah, so that's could be the, you know,
I'll tell you that one later.
another thing that excuse me, noticed on the backhoe yesterday was that there was, you know, went to go use the backhoe, which we haven't really used. I haven't, Tony hasn't, and went to go use the
The
backhoe.
hook itself.
Yeah, and the digging part. And for the thumb, the hydraulic thumb, the line was broke. I'd never been aware of that. I haven't been using it, so nice story there. So we had to replace that. So, you know, I don't know if that bill from that will come in yet, but there's, so it's just, excuse me, a few of these little odds and ends that are, you know, sometimes part of the daily routine, you know what I mean? But, which brings me to the 2018, when we took the front blade off of that, the plow, we stripped it down before it went to get serviced, the wing and the blade. Where the plow attaches to the truck, they call them ears, you know, and the pins go through. It's on like a little bit of a moving bar. The holes are wide of proportion. I mean, and I haven't figured out what happened with that, but one side more than the other. Yeah. So I got on the phone with H. Fairfield, and he's got one of those coming for me. It's going to be a week or 2 out, because this $80 for that. Now, he's the same guy that's getting the springs for the wings on little trucks. I'm still waiting on those. He's tracking them down and all that we talked about a few meetings back. And so that kind of, again, maintenance and things wearing and tearing on these machines that are 5 and 6 years seasons into it. But so just so you heads up, those types of things and bills that are going to be coming in. But that's where we're at. Otherwise, everything's fine good and all systems are go.
If it was today, and we're gonna trade in and upgrade one of those trucks, would you do it in the order of the year, or would you do the 19 first? Which one would you trade out first? Putting the
Well-
7400 aside.
Right. Yeah, okay. Get ahead. I guess I would do the 18, being the older truck with more miles on it. I mean, we did go take a ride somewhere, so we took a ride over by Ossipee last week, and we saw their new 2025 Dodge with its setup, the Everest plow and all that Fairfield did there. Really set up. A lot different, makes more sense.
Really?
Really a nice way to go. So I got some good ideas to truck up. For the next round with the truck. But yeah, I would do the 18.
The 18 before the 74, or the 7400 first.
I think I'm going to be 400 first. Again, I saw their Western that they got over there, and it's nice. The Sanders, before the tires in the back, they've been rigging them up that way. So you're sanding as you go, and you're driving over it, so they're backing up on the slick spots. When it's slick, you're throwing the sand out before you.
In front of your own tires.
Yeah,
Nice.
they're pretty sweet.
So, it's kind of the mid-box.
Yes.
We had a truck that did that.
Yeah.
Right.
That's an impossible truck.
When I asked him, did he ask the price of the Western Star? And he asked,
I'm concerned.
I they went like the top end. The top is all right. They all outfitted at about $250.
Yeah.
quarter.
Where to get a Ram somewhere thereabouts, what we were talking about with the deck fully loaded with what you need.
Well, the thing here is, when we bought those Rams, I think the price was right. I mean, it was before everything kind of went sky high, before COVID and everything else. The price. I don't believe, and again, I don't know for exact, but I don't think we paid more than $60 for just truck and chassis for either one of those trucks. Somewhere between 50, 58,
It was the previous year's model too.
Right, we got the
Okay.
18 at the beginning of 19, and we got the 19 at the beginning of 20.
Yeah.
But, so after that, those trucks, like that truck now, to replace it is probably close to 6 figures. Just truck and chassis. Then you gotta outfit it on top of that. That's where I weigh out replacing those trucks right away, They're still in pretty good shape with some maintenance to them. I know that they're saying that the outfitting, the setups are obsolete now with what we have. But, we rebuild them with some new springs and the things that we could get a hold of right now. Get a few more years out of those. I'd lean more towards the 7400 replacement, but that's my opinion.
I just want to have enough facts that when we get to the annual meeting and we're going through the budgets, that we prepare people, that we have some big capital investments to make, because the trucks haven't
Right.
been upgraded in a few years now, and the prices of the stuff. We should have a Western Star. The idea of putting somebody we don't know into a truck that's $250,000, people have to realize what we're faced with.
Oh, yeah.
The number
Right.
of CDL drivers in the market, and
Right. Yeah,
What year is our 7400?
I believe it's 2009 or 12.
9.
Yeah, I think
It
it's
was
a 9.
purchased in 2010, and it was out in Utah.
I think it was a used
Do you
truck.
remember any details of this? This was
Yeah.
Wendell and Smith. It was a demo truck out in Utah.
Right.
Rear wheel drive only.
Yeah, it doesn't even have a Jake brake.
Right.
And it wasn't voted on by the Board of Commissioners,
Correct.
to show you how. Anyway,
Legacy.
Yeah, I mean, you know, it's served, it's been a good truck, I mean,
Yes.
you know, it's got its,
one of the things about it was the last year that International had a truck that didn't have all the pollution stuff that got mandated.
right,
And it became a valuable truck the next year because everybody that knows trucks didn't want to buy the new stuff. They
right.
wanted that one, even though it didn't have four-wheel drive and maybe people didn't have the hills that we have. But anyway, I think we're going towards a different, we're not doing International again anyway.
No, I think, like I say, what, you know, these guys, that Western Star over there, and I know Marlboro's got one as well, they're pretty, the power in them is unbelievable. You know, and HP Fairfield gets you the truck, they outfit they do everything, you tell them how you know, and they, you know, they go soup to nuts kind of with it. You know, the live bodies in them, everything about them just seems pretty sweet.
When the one you saw was in Ossipee?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Go ahead.
Knowing what we have with the truck, you know, with the wing, that, you know, that's what I lean towards, that truck being replaced. The other ones are paid for, you know, everything in them is still operable, where the big truck, the front plow, you saw how it's coming unglued and it's rotting away, the body's rotting away, it just,
We'd get everything new on a Western Star if we got a Western Star.
right,
And my information's probably 10 years old now. I'm gonna start talking to the boys around the neighborhood about
Yeah.
trucks.
I mean, Madison's, I think, is a new Western Star as well.
They bought a Western Star, I believe, a few years ago.
Yeah,
And I know that I really like the idea of getting a Western Star back in 2012. That's how I know Western Stars. And I saw the price tag back then.
right,
Western Star was the highest priced truck back in 2012.
yeah.
But you get what you pay for, maybe?
Well, that, you know, that's it.
And we need good stuff.
Mm.
We need good stuff.
Right, exactly. With what we're dealing with in here, our terrain, you gotta get the right stuff. But that's, you know, well, the 19, you know, after, you know, the service on the 18 was in dire need, you know, that the computer tells you, oil, end of its life, you know, filters, end of their life, you know, so we were afraid that the truck was gonna shut down, so the minute they told me I could get it in there, I brought it in. The 19 is kind of coming to that as well. It's again, need the fuel and the oil, the fuel filters and that stuff done as well. So we'll get that in. You know, as again with the stretcher, we'll check the stretcher weather and make sure that we're not going to be without it. Like they're just doing it today. Tony's going to sit there and they're going to get it done. I had an appointment, and if I could get the same thing done with the 19, we'll do the same thing. Rather than having to drop it off for a couple of days.
Are these all inspected in October? DMV inspection?
I think our inspection is either September or March.
So
I
does
don't think
March
it's
come?
March, because I think I was around when,
Then it must be September.
yeah,
I think our things are
When
September.
all of them are done?
I'm pretty sure.
I think the International is October,
Oh.
Yeah,
and maybe the Dodgers are another month. Anyway, take a look at that.
okay. But that's all I've got.
Any questions for Jeff?
No.
No? Thank you, sir.
You got it. Stay dry.
Yes, have a good one.
See you later.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So at 9:25, we see that there's no scheduled appearances. Administrator reports. Do you have anything for Jennifer? We had a lot of things for you to buy. Do we have water books, the bound notebooks? The,
Yeah, we've had them at
Okay,
the
good.
office forever.
And where are we, I should, Where are we at getting phones for, a phone for Jeff? Anybody know where we are with that?
I'll take, last week was a bad week for me, so
Yeah, okay.
I'll take, I'm still on it.
Okay. I'm just going through, I have a whole bunch of stuff that over the last year I took on as projects and I haven't finished them. So almost like I shouldn't take on any new projects until I finish the 10 that I haven't finished yet. We did a lot last year.
Yeah.
Too many loose ends that I'm holding. Old business tabled items, there's none on the agenda.
Mm-mm.
No signature items today? Except for signing
Except for
checks
the
and manifests.
Yeah.
So at 9:26, we'll go to commissioners' reports. I spent a lot of time looking at the locks on all the doors of all the facilities. I am now one with the Schlag cafe. And in the non-public session, I'll explain what I learned about those locks.
Yes.
They're pretty good, pretty good. There's two key things that I want to tell you about them that, if you know it, you own the locks, and you have to be able to get the lock off the door from the inside, and I'll tell you all about that.
Yeah.
They're pretty good, little systems, which is why I think they've been around for a long time.
Mhm.
And so I'm continuing to work with FEMA. Jennifer printed out a QuickBooks report that showed all of the vendor purchases made in the 2023
Yeah, the time frame that you think that
trying
you're
to
looking
find-
for.
The invoice for in 2023, after the July 16th storm, for rental of an excavator when they replaced the Barden culvert. I had been led to believe that they had all the information into FEMA, and now FEMA's asking me for evidence of the Barden culverts 100% complete in the Bergdorf culvert. So now I'm going back and trying to find everything from 2023. So I'm kind of losing faith in FEMA. And
Let's see if we find anything that says we actually submitted it.
one of the things is,
It might not be on them.
well, there was a presentation made
Yes.
by the previous board
Right.
in that time frame where they had a special hearing that DRA asked them to do because they notified DRA that they were going over the budget because they had a May storm, and I was on the board, a May storm and a July storm. The
Mhm.
July storm got declared a disaster by FEMA for the town, for the area, and for us. The May storm did not, and we spent a lot of money fixing things in May. I was not privy, even though I asked for it in a public session, information about what had been reported to FEMA. And the staff said, they can't show me because they put it in and there's no way of showing it to me. I said, can't you take screenshots? And there was silence. I now know that the FEMA portal lets you print reports. In the presentation, they said that they had submitted $90,000 worth of expenses
Okay.
to FEMA. FEMA is saying they got paperwork for a $9,000 contract to fix the water main on Grissom, of which they paid us $7,200. That's it. So now there's a whole new FEMA staff. The ones I've been dealing with for a year are all switched out. There are ladies now that I haven't met on the internet through the video conferencing that I need to get time to see if they want to start that over again. Back in November, the previous team said, you're all set, all 6 of your projects are going forward. We don't need to video conference with you anymore. Last month, they announced that there's a new team assigned to us, and the 2 ladies sent me an email saying, is this Barden thing done? And I said, that was all sent a long time ago. They said, no. So I feel like I'm starting over again. So I'm trying to keep my head screwed on straight. Mike Brooks tells me he has similar experiences, so that's where that's at. So, gotta get the attitude right and speak to them and get this
gauge their attitude.
But I'd love to see if they can show me what was submitted to them back in 2023. Because if I'm running to chase an invoice they already have, that's be really
Yeah, irritating.
not good, not good. I'll stop there.
I think what I need to bring up probably needs to come up in, non-public.
Okay.
So I have
Okay.
nothing.
Okay, well, last week was posting week.
Yes, thanks for doing all that. That
We
was a
got
big
the-
project.
We got the warrant together and signed, and the same with the 636. So we only have a few weeks before the annual meeting. So do we want to take some time, probably, maybe not today, maybe put some thoughts for commissioners' discussions for each of the warrant articles so that we have some type of guideline as far as what we want to explain and how we plan to do it at the annual meeting.
I would say we could spend a little time now doing that. First thought that comes to mind is it worked pretty well at the budget hearings, the way we divided it up.
Yes,
So if we like the way that that was rehearsed, then we could stick to that unless we see things that we could switch that would make it better.
mhm,
The thing that I think happens at this time is because of the way New Hampshire works with the annual meetings in the springtime or late winter, and the budget actually starts January 1st
mhm.
through December 31st, is you have the worst months for expenditures, which is this time of the winter.
Yeah,
For heating bills, for salt, sand,
Right.
for overtime, for fuel.
Mhm.
You spend a lot of money, and the
Right.
last manifest shows that that's what happens. You have the ability to go to the floor
Yes,
and say, we already know that this happened in January and February, so the line item that we put on the warrant, because of the budget hearings have to be
mhm,
done weeks prior to the annual meeting, we now think that you want to raise this line item because we've got expenditures that need that raised.
exactly. And when we get to the annual meeting, we want to have that stuff preset
prepared, yeah.
and printed to give to Bob for any amendments. So if we need to amend any of the line items, you know, for salt, sand, fuel, based on
On the current
the
bills
beginning
we're
of the
getting,
year,
yeah.
then we need to have that pre-printed to give to Bob at the annual meeting, because all amendments need to be turned in writing.
Just to,
So,
so make sure we're talking about the same thing. If it's the operating budget, where you, in this example,
mhm,
you know that the motion is to change the bottom line,
correct,
and we're just changing the number.
correct.
Right?
The other warrant articles, if you're changing the language, you have to submit it to the moderator in writing. I don't think, check me if I'm wrong, that if you're changing the bottom line of the operating budget, that you have to give them a number on a piece of paper. My experience is you change the number.
Oh,
verbally.
okay,
For any line item, any particular line item.
Well, you're not really changing the line item, you're
Right.
saying it. But you're not
But you're
voting on the line
changing
items, you're voting on the bottom
bottom
line.
line.
Bottom line, okay.
Right,
So
but
you
we
say- You say we need to raise the fuel budget by $2,000
Right.
because of unusual winter circumstances. What you're doing is saying, therefore, I'm making a motion, we change the bottom line of the entire budget by
Gotcha.
$2,000.
Makes it a lot
And
easier.
here's your
yeah.
new number.
His
right, we should have the
presentation-
new, right, we should have the new number in writing to hand to Bob,
Yeah, because
so that he has
he
it.
currently has it where it's the operating budget and all the line items are all there.
So that's a
with
piece of
numbers.
paper, you write down the number you're saying to the
Correct.
audience. And there, that's changing.
Right, and yeah, that might be something that we don't
I can't, rem-
preset,
I
that
can't
might be
remember
at
ever-
the,
I can't remember ever passing them a piece of paper with the number on it.
okay,
I've never seen that. But anyway, it's as simple as writing it on a piece of paper and giving it to them,
yeah,
as
I
opposed
gotcha,
to
okay.
coming in with a paragraph rephrased.
Right, but some of them we might wanna have, if there's any other changes
In the
that we
articles.
wanna make to the articles,
Articles
then we
themselves.
would wanna have them preset.
Okay. And let's see, we can do that. He won't need to put that on his projector.
No.
So we don't need to do it, we could do it right up until we get to the meeting.
Yeah.
And we can decide whether.
Yeah, I just know that we only have a couple of weeks, so it's, start to at least start thinking about it. Maybe have more of a discussion next week for anything that we actually wanna set. I'd like to see some type of paragraph set, for the two, tower agreements. I know there's gonna be some verbal, but we might wanna have something set that specifically says we intend to, set it as is, or ratify it as is for the sheriffs, or create one for Conway, and have the, $500 a
Yeah.
month.
Right,
And have that preset, so that everybody knows what we're planning.
Good point. I've been thinking of whether I should ask you to, whether you would like to actually print the agreement as it is, that people can have it.
We
as
can do that.
As we discuss this, because I really like, I don't know, I think we agreed to it, and if we haven't put it into a motion, that the way the warrant article is, it's for them to ratify an agreement that we've changed and got agreement with these two entities. And I'd rather turn that into a hearing before we actually negotiate anything with these two entities, and get the feedback from the voters at the annual meeting as a hearing of whether they think it's a good idea to go forward in any particular direction with this before we actually start to do it. I'd like that to already have happened.
Yep.
So instead of ratifying it, we turn it into a hearing, if the moderator will let us do that at the end of the meeting. To get the feedback, a show of hands as to whether they want us to do this or they want us to do something else. And it may be they want us to do one thing with one entity and a different thing with the other entity.
Right.
So, if that's understandable, I'm thinking, wouldn't it be good for them to have the agreement as it is in front
yeah,
of them?
but it's such a long agreement that they'd have to sit there and read through and.
They do that as they have voted and is sitting in the audience waiting for the meeting to start at 10.
That's up to you guys.
They read this stuff.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, that's the way that it's done, is a lot of the education happens in the half hour before the meeting starts, if they have it. But we can debate whether we should do excerpts or not give it to them at all and just describe it,
Well,
Because
minimum excerpts, but probably best to have the whole.
if you showed up and you knew that there was gonna be a discussion and you're gonna be asked what your opinion is after you've hearing it, what would you want in front of you? You've seen the agreement.
I wouldn't necessarily say that I would need to see the full agreement, because I'm all on board with charging them
Okay,
for this service, and
We don't know
I'm
what they-
good with that.
okay,
That's
yeah, I got
just
you.
how my,
What do you think, Widow? What say ye?
If we could give a executive summary on how the agreements exist right now and how they could exist, what we're thinking, to have your hearing, another executive summary instead of the entire thing. If we want to do that, that's not a bad idea.
Okay. I'll take that for a write-up for next week.
You will?
Yeah.
gotcha.
What a hero.
Well,
Yeah,
that's all
for
part
both of
of
them.
like how you're
Yeah.
presenting it anyway.
Exactly.
So you did all this work for the state last week and now you have nothing to do.
Well,
Okay.
once you get everything done through the state, then you have to look at, okay, what do we need to change and modify
It's like
between
starting
now
all
and
over
then.
again.
Well, we know if we keep her busy, it keeps her out of trouble. Great, thank you.
And that's pretty much what I had, was to get a discussion going on how we wanted to
Yeah,
go with this, and
Yeah.
that was all I had for today.
okay.
So at 9:40, we see that there's no correspondence,
Right.
And there's no public appearance?
Yep.
Even though we have plenty of seats? No public comments, and we can vote to go into non-public session. So I'll make a motion to do a roll call and go into non-public session. Need a second.
Second,
And how do you vote in going into non-public session, Nan?
aye.
What votes?
Aye.
And I vote aye,
Okay,
it's 3-0 to
great.
go into non-public session at 9:40.
4,
Which one?
Yeah.